In this video, what I'd like to do is walk you through a couple of different ways to create histograms. First, using Excel natively without any add-in tools, and then in a separate video, we'll walk you through creating histograms using QI macros. The learning objectives for this particular video are, first, how to build a histogram using Microsoft Excel, and I'll use a demo data file and walk you through it in Excel. We'll also take a look at modifying the histogram. The output that is created by default is pretty simplistic and not very useful for process improvement work, but there are a couple of quick little tweaks that you can make to make your histograms more effective and more useful as a data analysis tool. And we'll look at those quick little tweaks. And then finally, we'll take a look at some of the capabilities that I think are missing in the Excel histogram feature and how other statistical packages, I think, do a better job. All right, I'm in Microsoft Excel right now, and I'm using a data file that we pulled from the course. It's related to the pizza case that we've been looking at in other videos. And in this example, what I want to do is I want to try to create a histogram of the total lead time, the total amount of time it took from the beginning of order to the receiving of the pizza at the customer's home. So to create a histogram in Excel, here's what we'll do. Go to the Data menu and go to the Data Analysis tab. And then there are a number of options in the Data Analysis tab. We're going to be looking for histogram. We'll choose histogram. If you don't see a data analysis options, you'll probably need to install the analysis tool pack. I'm not sure if it's default installed in all Microsoft Excel installations, but it is an add-in that is part of the Microsoft Office suite. In any case, you go to Data Analysis, choose Histogram, and then press OK. And then you're presented with this little dialog box for the input range. That's going to be the data that we want to analyze. So I'm going to go and highlight that data. And then after I've highlighted the data, I'll make sure to specify that we want a output chart, and I'll press OK. Pretty straightforward. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see the results. Just a few clicks creates then it creates then the data that is used to actually create this chart. But honestly, the chart I think is pretty limiting. First of all, if you look at the x-axis, the bins aren't in friendly business-like bin sizes, and the labels aren't that appropriate either. So let's take a look at some ways that we can clean this up a little bit. The first one is let's work on creating bins that are more business friendly. I'm thinking bins that are of either sizes 5-minute separation or 10-minute separation instead of what we've got here, which looks like about 11-minute separated bins. Let's change bin sizes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate worksheet. You could stick it in your existing worksheet. I'm just, for cleanliness, I'm going to create a separate worksheet and call it bin sizes. Okay, I've now created a couple of columns for different sized bins. We'll see how we're going to use them next when we create the histogram again. So let's go back. Let's create this histogram again. I'm in my original data set. I'll go to the Data Analysis tab and choose histogram. I've got the input range specified. Now, in this field where it's called bin range, what I'll specify are one of the two columns. If I like 5-minute bins, I'll choose this column A. If I like 10-minute bins, I'll choose column C. I think to start with, let's just try 5-minute bins, see what that looks like. I'm going to stick it in a new worksheet, and it's going to be a chart output, and let's see what we get now. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. And now I've got something that's a little bit more usable. Now let's figure out ways to reduce that space between the bins. So to do that, I will highlight and right-click on any one of the bars, and I'll format that data series. And what I'm going to choose now is I'm going to specify that the gap width is, well, here, I'll do 0 at first. That'll create no gap. But what I find is if I just make the gap be a little bit, you can play around with this to get the gap that you think looks best. I like a little bit of gap there, and so I'll stop at this point. And now I've got a histogram that I think is a little bit more readable, a little bit more usable, a little bit more business friendly. Some limitations, though. Microsoft Excel doesn't allow you to specify customer specification limits, like if there was a 30-minute delivery specification. It doesn't include the descriptive statistics like mean, median, and mode, standard deviation, range, min, max. I know I could go back and I could manually calculate those, but it'd be nice if it did that for me automatically. It doesn't include other process improvement capability metrics like CP and CPK. Those are capability metrics that we're going to learn about in the data analysis course that are relevant for process improvement work. Yeah, so it can be done. It's just limited. Gives you a basic histogram, but if you want any of those more advanced features, you're going to have to take a look at other packages. And that's what we'll take a look at next. We'll build this same histogram using a statistical add-in package we call QI macros, and we'll compare the difference.